blind man. Whose fault is this? We have to have someone to blame. The neighbors asked, isn't he the one who used to beg by the road? And yet, they don't even recognize their neighbor. And yet he was a part of their daily life. Must not have paid much attention to him over the years, even though he sat by the road and begged every day. The religious leaders, they looked and they said, hey, how can this even happen? This Jesus is one of us. He's the carpenter's son. God doesn't work this way. The question we should be asking ourselves is, how can God take our sins, our weaknesses, our failures, all the messes we make? And I know, just looking out here, you make a lot of messes. I do too. How do we take all the bad memories? How does God take all the bad memories and still bring us out of darkness into light? How does God take us and correct our vision, the vision of our heart and the vision of our eyes, so that we can see the world through God's eyes? So the right question that we should be asking is, if God can do it using ordinary dirt and spit, mud, think what God can do with our ordinary, everyday talents, abilities, and the gifts that God gives us and the generosity of our lives. Just imagine what can be done if God can use the ordinary things of life, if we use the ordinary things of our life. What is so difficult for us is to be able to see, to have the vision to recognize that God's grace is experienced every day through our actions as individuals and in a community. Every day God's grace is operative, but we don't see it. We don't recognize it. We don't feel it. We see it when we work to bring healing, compassion, forgiveness, and hope to the everyday experiences of others. Not the extraordinary experiences. It's the everyday experience of life that becomes tedious, that becomes burdensome at times, that becomes overwhelming. Think of some of the things that happen through you right now. I was thinking of these as our parish. 5 days every week, there's over 170 children who walk into this school building in preschool and K through 5 who are taught that they are the beloved of God. And for some of our children, that is a real struggle, because they're not told that in the ordinary experience of their daily life and their family life. Someone has to tell them that. Someone has to bring light to them so that they can become messengers of the gospel in their future. And we can't just walk by the side and not recognize them. They're part of our community and part of our life. Each Sunday, families bring 1 can of soup or a jar of peanut butter for those at Hope Outreach and Catholic Charities. Just 1 little can. But you know what that has amounted to in 5 months? 5 months, that's all we've been doing this. 9,199 pounds of food. That's over 5 tons. It amounts to 5,111 meals. Can you imagine if you had individually, if you had to bring, 4 tons of food and carry it? That's a pretty heavy burden for any one of you, isn't it? But see, that one little can, or that one jar of peanut butter, really not much of a burden, is it? But it takes care of people who are hungry in the ordinary experience of their daily life. I think of the people who go to the nursing homes and the homebound and visit and take communion every day. What that means to those people, you're doing this. Not just one of you has to do that, but you're all doing that in some way. At Advent, I think of the generosity that you show toward those in need through the giving tree. This year, it was amazing the number of people that we were able to reach out to and touch their family life. They would have had nothing. But you made that possible through your own life, that grace of God in your ordinary experience. Each Lent, you're sharing the bishop's appeal. How many hungry and homeless, the cold and the forgotten? How many living in desperation? When seen through the eyes of Jesus, seen through your eyes, the presence of God in you, how many of those are able to be helped and assisted? And you do that together as a parish. These are just some of the things that happen through God's grace in our lives every single day, when we're able to see through the eyes of God and see the world as God sees. If we let Jesus correct our vision, just think what God can do with you and with me this week. God bless you.